Ceres watched in disgust as his alien guards brutalized the weakened human xenobiologist into divulging the secrets behind humanity's stunning rise to power, secrets the human had already revealed 1,000 times, but that Ceres was too alien to understand, until today. Raymond Evans bled from a split lip and a dozen lacerations, staining the pristine crystalline floor as two armed Vorta dragged his battered body before their leader. "You will tell me, human filth, how has your pathetic species advanced so rapidly? What are you hiding?" Ceres snarled, his iridescent scales rippling with rage. Raymond coughed, spattering blood. "I've told you 100 times, it's our spirit. Our refusal to quit no matter what. Study us for yourself and you'll see. If you will not talk, I will tear the truth from your flesh. Then your research will end with me." Raymond met the alien's eyes without flinching. "You want to learn our secrets? Come to Earth. See humanity unleashed, unfiltered. You just might learn something before we blast you to atoms." Ceres recoiled as if struck. The human's defiance was a slap to everything he believed. How could one traumatized captive show such fearless resolve? The question burned in his mind as he turned to his subordinates. "Release him. I resign effective immediately. The human is now my research subject." Shocked gasps and protests rose from the gathered Vorta scientists, but Ceres silenced them with a hiss. He would unravel the mystery of humanity's power, even if it meant walking amongst the savages. Earth's chaotic wilds would push his skills to their limits, but the pursuit of knowledge demanded sacrifice. If he failed, the Vorta would be defenseless when humanity's wrath inevitably exploded across the stars. Raymond stared out the viewport of the sleek Vorta starship as it cruised through the void towards Earth. Ceres sat beside him, his scales still rippling with agitation. "I will unravel the secrets of your species, human," Ceres hissed. "Your resistance is futile." Raymond smirked. "We'll see about that. For now, let me show you what we're really made of." He activated the ship's database, pulling up files on human history, culture, and behavior. For hours, Raymond lectured Ceres on the complexities of human society, from ancient civilizations to modern nation-states. Ceres listened intently, his scientific mind absorbing the information, even as he struggled to comprehend the contradictions. "Your species wages war, yet also creates art and beauty. You compete, yet also cooperate. It makes no sense." Raymond shrugged. "That's humanity for you. We're complicated." Suddenly the ship shuddered as an energy blast slammed into its shields. Alarms blared and warning lights flashed. "Report!" Ceres barked. The ship's AI responded. "We are under attack by a Zorgon warship. They are demanding we surrender and prepare to be boarded." Ceres cursed. The Zorgons were notorious for capturing advanced technology from other species. Raymond, however, looked thoughtful. "I have an idea," he said. "During my time as your captive, I studied this ship's systems. I think I know how we can lose them." Ceres looked skeptical, but another blast rocked the ship. "Very well, human, what do you suggest?" Raymond outlined his plan. It was risky and unorthodox, relying on misdirection and clever use of the ship's capabilities. Ceres was hesitant, but with the Zorgons closing in, he had little choice. Together they put Raymond's plan into action. Raymond took the helm, executing a series of daring maneuvers that pushed the ship to its limits. He wove through fields of asteroids, using the rocks to block sensor scans and laser fire. At a crucial moment, he cut power to the engines, letting the ship drift as if disabled. The Zorgons closed in for the kill, but Raymond reactivated the engines at the last second, firing thrusters to spin the ship in a dizzying spiral. Disoriented, the Zorgons couldn't react in time as Raymond targeted their weak points and unleashed a barrage of quantum torpedoes. The Zorgon ship exploded in a blinding flash. Ceres stared at Raymond, re-evaluating the human in light of his resourcefulness and quick thinking under pressure. Perhaps there was more to this species than he had assumed. But their victory was short-lived. The battle had damaged their own ship, knocking out the cloaking device and compromising the hyperdrive. Earth was close, but they couldn't risk a populated landing zone. There, Raymond said, pointing to a sprawling forest in a remote corner of North America. We can set down there and make repairs. Ceres nodded grimly as Raymond guided the limping ship into the atmosphere. The alien scales flickered with unease at the prospect of being stranded on an unfamiliar world. But as the ship touched down amid towering pines and misty undergrowth, Raymond felt a thrill of excitement. He was home. And now, he had the chance to show this alien the true nature of the world that had shaped the human spirit. He glanced at Ceres as the ramp lowered, revealing a riot of green and the rich sense of earth and growing things. "Welcome to Earth," Raymond said with a crooked grin. "I hope you're ready for a real education." The crash sent jolts of agony through Raymond's battered body as the ship skidded to a stop amid snapping branches and plumes of dirt. For a moment, the only sound was the ticking of cooling metal and the hiss of ruptured conduits. Then Ceres groaned and stirred in the co-pilot's seat. Raymond fumbled with his harness. "You all right?" Ceres checked himself for injuries, scales rippling. "Bruised but functional. You?" Raymond touched the back of his head, wincing at the lump. "I'll live. We need to get out and assess the damage." They salvaged what they could from the ship. Tools, supplies, a few precious pieces of tech. Then, with Ceres's superior strength, they hauled the crates into the forest and set up a crude camp. As Ceres worked to repair the ship, Raymond foraged for food and firewood. He showed the alien how to set snares which plants were safe to eat. In the evenings, he taught Ceres to build a fire, to purify water, to navigate by the stars. "Your species is remarkably adaptable," Ceres observed as they sat by the crackling flames one night. "You thrive in environments that would kill most." Raymond shrugged. "We evolved as generalists able to exploit many niches. It served us well." In turn, Ceres shared his findings on Earth's biosphere, waxing poetic about the elegant complexity of pollination, the intricate dance of predator and prey. Raymond had to admit he'd never appreciated the wonders in his own backyard. Days turned to weeks as they worked, and something shifted between them. Antagonism gave way to grudging respect, even camaraderie. They swapped stories of past missions, compared scars and close calls. Raymond taught Ceres poker. Ceres shared Vorta, drinking songs. Raymond was coming to see Ceres as a friend, an equal. But he hadn't forgotten what the alien scientist had done. The wounds were still raw. Everything changed the day the hunters found them. Raymond heard the crunch of footsteps, the murmur of voices, and grabbed his rifle. "Ceres, get down!" The alien crouched behind a tree as three men in camo emerged from the brush, weapons ready. The leader, a grizzled bear of a man, trained his gun on Raymond. "Drop it, son, nice and slow." Raymond complied, mind racing. The hunter stepped closer, eyes flicking to the wrecked ship, the alien tech scattered around the camp. "What the hell is all this? You some kind of terrorist?" Raymond raised his hands. "No, sir, my name is Raymond Evans. I'm a xenobiologist. This is my research partner, Ceres. We had an accident, crashed here. We mean no harm." The hunter scowled, not lowering his weapon. Then his gaze fell on Ceres, and his eyes widened. He took in the alien scales, the long claws, the lidless eyes. "Well, I'll be damned." The alien inclined his head. "Greetings, I'm Ceres of the Vorta. I come in peace." The hunter stared for a long moment, then barked a laugh. "I'm Jack, pleased to meet you, spaceman." He lowered his gun, but Raymond noted he kept his finger near the trigger. Jack circled the campsite, picking up pieces of tech, turning them over in his hands. "This is some impressive hardware. Never seen anything like it. Bet it's worth a pretty penny." Raymond tensed. "It's not for sale." Jack looked up, a hard glint in his eye. "Oh, I ain't looking to buy. I'm thinking we help you fix up your ship, and in return, we get a little access to this fine alien tech. Expand our horizons, so to speak. You get off this rock and everyone wins." Raymond hesitated. It was a risky deal, but what choice did they have? They needed the manpower. And maybe, just maybe, this was a chance to show Ceres the best of humanity, not just the worst. He glanced at the alien, who inclined his head slightly. Raymond sighed. "All right, you've got a deal." Jack clapped him on the shoulder, grinning. "Excellent, let's get to work." As they labored side by side over the following days, Jack never missed a chance to pepper Ceres with questions. He seemed fascinated by the alien's technology, his culture, his very existence. "Never thought I'd live to see a real live extraterrestrial," he mused as they rewired a power coupling. "Makes you wonder what else is out there, don't it?" Raymond noted the way Jack's eyes lingered on Ceres, the covetous gleam when he watched the alien work. Something about it made his skin crawl. But they were close to being operational again, close to getting off this world and back on track. Raymond just had to keep Jack happy a little longer. He should have known it wouldn't be that easy. The ship was nearly ready to fly again when everything went to hell. Raymond was calibrating the quantum flux regulator, Ceres beside him testing power flow to the ion thrusters, when Jack stormed up the ramp, rifle in hand and a wild look in his eyes. "Step away from the controls," he barked. "Both of you." Raymond spun, raising his hands. "Jack, what's going on?" The hunter's grin was feral. "Change of plans, boys. This tech's coming with me. Gonna make me a very rich man." Ceres hissed, scales flaring. "You dare betray us after all we've done?" Jack leveled the gun at Ceres's head. "Shut it, lizard. All you've done is show me the score of a lifetime. Now move." Raymond edged between them, mind racing. He'd seen that look before in the eyes of raiders, warlords. Once the fever took hold, there was no shaking it, but he had to try. "Jack, listen to me," he said, keeping his voice level. "This technology, it's bigger than all of us. It could change the world, help so many people. Don't do this." Jack snorted. "Help people? Wake up, Ray. This is about helping me. No more scratching out a living in these godforsaken woods. I'll have it all, money, power, and I'll be calling the shots." "And then what?" Raymond pressed. "You think it ends there? The greed, it consumes you, makes you a slave to your own—" "Enough!" The rifle jabbed forward. "You've got 5 seconds to give me the access codes before I start putting holes in your friend here." Ceres tensed, claws flexing, but Raymond caught his eye and shook his head slightly. The Vorta's face rippled with barely restrained fury, but he held himself in check. For now. Raymond took a breath, playing for time. Okay, just... A flicker of movement in the view screen caught his eye, a glint of metal in the trees. His blood ran cold. "Get down!" He dove for cover, tackling Jack as a lance of searing plasma sliced through the space where they'd been standing. It tore into a bulkhead, filling the air with the stench of molten metal. Ceres was already moving, slamming a claw down on the hatch controls. The ramp snapped shut just as more blasts rained down, the impacts echoing through the hull. Raymond scrambled to the sensor controls, a sinking feeling in his gut. The scans confirmed it. Zorgon scout ship, heavily armed. And it had friends. "They must have tracked us," he said grimly. "Probably been watching us for days." Jack struggled to his feet, face pale. What the hell are those things? Ceres ignored him, claws flying over the controls. "Weapons are down, shields at half strength. We can't take them in a fight." Another barrage hammered the ship, warning lights flashing red. Raymond gritted his teeth. "We have to get out of here, draw them away from the camp." He looked to Ceres, then to Jack, hating what he had to say next. "We need to work together, all of us. It's the only way." For a moment, he thought Jack would argue. But then the hunter's shoulders slumped, the fight going out of him. "What do you need me to do?" Raymond nodded, relieved. "Man the nav controls. Plot us a course out of the atmosphere. Ceres, divert all power to engines and shields." As they scrambled to their stations, Raymond couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. The Zorgon had found them once. They'd find them again. But as he watched Ceres and Jack working side by side, human and Vorta united against a common foe, he felt a flicker of hope. They were outmatched and outgunned, but they weren't beaten yet, not by a long shot. Plasma fire lit the sky as the battered ship clawed for altitude, weaving and dodging with a nimbleness that belied its size. In the co-pilot's seat, Jack whooped with adrenaline-fueled glee, hands dancing over the controls like a pianist at his instrument. "I gotta admit, I'm starting to see the appeal of this cooperation thing," he crowed, as they barrel-rolled through a hail of ion blasts. "Never flown anything like this before." Ceres spared him a glance, mouth twitching in what might have been a smile. "You haven't flown anything yet, human. Raymond, status?" Raymond checked the readouts, brow furrowed. "Shields holding for now, but they're targeting our engines, trying to force us down." Another hit rocked the ship, sparks cascading from overloaded panels. Ceres hissed in frustration. "We can't outrun them, not like this." Raymond's mind raced, sifting through options. Then it hit him, a crazy, desperate gamble. But it just might work. "I have an idea," he said, "but you're not going to like it." Jack glanced back, eyebrow raised. "I haven't liked anything about this day so far. Try me." Raymond told them. He was right, they didn't like it. But as more alarms blared and the ship shuddered under the Zorgon onslaught, they had no choice. Ceres wrenched open a maintenance hatch, digging through the tangle of wires and conduits. His claws made quick work of the couplings, rerouting power from the shields to the quantum flux regulator. Raymond, meanwhile, cannibalized parts from the ship's scanners and comms array, his xenotech training letting him jury-rig a signal amplifier. It was crude, held together more by hope than engineering, but it would have to do. Jack watched them work, face grim. "This is insane. You know that, right?" Raymond managed a strained smile. "Sanity's overrated. Strap in and get ready to fly." With a final twist of a spanner, Ceres slammed the hatch shut. "It's done. Shields are down, but the regulator is primed. If this doesn't work—" "It'll work," Raymond said, praying he was right. "On my mark. 3, 2, 1, now." Jack wrenched the controls, sending the ship into a screaming dive. The Zorgon, sensing weakness, surged after them, weapons charging for the kill. At the last second, Raymond threw a lever. The quantum flux regulator howled to life, pouring every ounce of power into a single, tightly focused beam. It lanced out, striking the amplifier dish, and then split, refracting into a dozen, 100, 1,000 razor-thin filaments. They engulfed the Zorgon ships like a net, slicing through metal and crystal with molecular precision. For a heartbeat, the alien craft seemed to hang suspended, caught in a web of shimmering light. Then they shattered, dissolving into clouds of glittering dust. The scanner feed erupted into static as the Zorgon's anguished screams echoed across the comms. In the sudden silence that followed, Raymond could only stare at the carnage, heart pounding. Beside him, Ceres exhaled slowly, scales rippling with exhaustion and relief. Jack broke the spell, his whoop of triumph tinged with more than a little hysteria. "Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Humans and Vorta, kicking alien ass and taking names." He clapped Raymond on the shoulder, eyes shining. "You crazy bastards! I can't believe that worked." Raymond managed a shaky laugh. "That makes 2 of us." But as the adrenaline faded, the enormity of what they'd just done began to sink in. They'd won, yes, but at what cost? The Zorgon would be back, in greater numbers, and now they knew what the humans and Vorta were capable of. Ceres, perhaps sensing his thoughts, placed a hand on Raymond's arm. "This is only the beginning. You know that." Raymond nodded, throat tight. "I know, but we'll face it together. Humans and Vorta side by side." Jack leaned forward, uncharacteristically serious. "Listen, about before, I was an idiot, a greedy, short-sighted idiot. But seeing you two in action, what you can do, it made me realize something." He looked from Raymond to Ceres, eyes fierce with newfound conviction. "This is bigger than me, bigger than all of us. This technology, this knowledge, it could change everything. And I want to be a part of that change, if you'll have me." Raymond studied the man, seeing for the first time not just a hunter or a schemer, but a potential ally, a friend. He glanced at Ceres, who inclined his head fractionally. Then he turned back to Jack and extended his hand. "Welcome aboard." In the days that followed, Raymond, Ceres, and Jack threw themselves into repairing the Vorta ship. They worked tirelessly, scavenging parts from the surrounding forest and jury-rigging solutions with a combination of human ingenuity and Vorta technical prowess. As they labored side by side, Ceres found himself increasingly torn. He watched Raymond and Jack marveling at their resilience, their adaptability, their fierce determination in the face of overwhelming odds. These were qualities he had once dismissed as weaknesses, but now he saw them for the strengths they were. With each passing day, each shared meal and late-night discussion around the campfire, Ceres felt his loyalties shifting. He had come to Earth as a conqueror, a scientist seeking to unravel the secrets of humanity's success. But now, he found himself wondering if perhaps the true secret lay not in biology or technology, but in the indomitable human spirit itself. One evening, as they sat watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and pink, Ceres turned to Raymond. "I find myself questioning my purpose here," he said slowly. "For so long, I believed my mission was to study your species, to find ways to counter your advantages. But now—" Raymond met his gaze, understanding in his eyes. "Now you're not so sure." Ceres nodded. "I have seen the best of your kind, Raymond. The courage, the compassion, the unbreakable will to survive and thrive. I cannot help but wonder if our peoples might be stronger together than apart." Raymond clasped his shoulder, scales smooth beneath his palm. "I believe that too, but it won't be easy. Your people, mine, there's so much history, so much fear and mistrust." "I know," Ceres said, "but perhaps it is a challenge worth undertaking." Days turned to weeks, and at last the ship was ready. Ceres stood before it, his heart heavy with the weight of the choice before him, to return to his old life, his old beliefs, or to forge a new path, one that might change the course of both their species. But before he could decide, a shimmering portal burst open in the sky above, and a dozen Vorta military ships poured through. They hung in the air like angry hornets, bristling with weapons. A voice crackled over the comms, cold and imperious. "Ceres of the Vorta, you are ordered to return at once, along with any technology or information you have gathered. Failure to comply will be considered treason." Ceres stood frozen, torn between duty and conviction. But then Raymond was there, standing tall beside him. "I'll go with you," he said, quiet but firm. "Back to your world. Show them that humans are more than just a threat to be contained, that we can be allies, friends." Ceres stared at him, scales rippling with emotion. "Raymond, I cannot ask you to—" "You're not asking," Raymond cut in. "I'm offering, freely and gladly." He turned to Jack, who watched with a mix of awe and apprehension. "Will you cover for us? Give us a chance to make this right?" Jack swallowed hard, then nodded. "You got it. Give 'em hell up there." And so, with a final farewell, Raymond and Ceres boarded the ship and launched into the sky, watching Earth dwindle below them. Ahead lay a gauntlet of politics and prejudice, of factions on both sides, who would stop at nothing to sabotage their mission. But as Raymond took his place at Ceres's side, he knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, for the sake of their worlds, their peoples, and the future they dared to dream. Zephyrus Prime gleamed like a jade marble as their ship slid into orbit, a world of mist-shrouded jungles and glittering crystal spires. But Raymond barely had a moment to admire the view before they were swarmed by a phalanx of Vorta warships, all sleek lines and thrumming plasma cannons. "Unknown vessel, you are trespassing in restricted space," a cold voice crackled over the comms. "Identify yourself immediately, or be destroyed." Ceres leaned forward, his voice steady. "This is Ceres of the Vorta, returning from mission on Earth. I have vital information for the High Council, and a guest. We request permission to land." A loaded pause, then grudgingly, "Permission granted, but your guest will be placed under armed guard. Any sign of treachery, and you will both be executed on sight." Raymond swallowed hard as the ships peeled away, revealing a looming structure of gleaming metal and pulsing energy fields. the Vorta Citadel, seat of power for an empire that spanned 1,000 worlds. As they docked and stepped out onto the landing pad, a dozen armed soldiers snapped to attention, weapons trained on Raymond's chest. He raised his hands slowly, heart pounding. Ceres stepped forward, placing himself between Raymond and the guards. "This human is under my protection," he said, voice ringing with authority. "He is here as an ambassador of Earth to open a dialogue between our peoples." The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances, but lowered their weapons. One, a hulking brute with a livid scar across his snout, sneered. "The Council will decide if this creature is worth talking to. Until then, it is a prisoner of war." Raymond bit back a retort as they were marched through vaulted halls of shimmering crystal, Vorta scientists and dignitaries gawking and whispering as they passed. He held his head high, determined to show no fear, even as his mind raced with the enormity of what they were attempting. At last they reached a soaring chamber, where a dozen Vorta elders sat in a semicircle, their scales shimmering with age and wisdom. Ceres dropped to one knee, bowing his head. Raymond, after a moment's hesitation, did the same. "Honored elders," Ceres began, "I have returned from Earth with knowledge that could change the course of our civilization. This human, Raymond Evans, has shown me that his people are more than mere savages or threats. They are potential allies, partners in a greater understanding of the universe we share." A ripple of shock and consternation passed through the assembled elders. One, an ancient female with milky eyes, hissed in disdain. "You have been bewitched by their lies, Ceres. Humans are a plague, a blight upon the galaxy. They must be contained, controlled, or exterminated." Raymond tensed, but Ceres pressed on. "With respect, Elder, I believe you are wrong. I have seen their courage, their ingenuity, their capacity for self-sacrifice. They are a young species, yes, but one with great potential. If we can look past our prejudices and find common ground—" "Enough!" Another elder slammed his fist down, scales bristling with rage. "You speak treason, Ceres. This creature has poisoned your mind with its delusions of cooperation and friendship. It is a trick, a ploy to weaken us for conquest." Ceres drew himself up, eyes flashing. "It is no trick. I have staked my life on the truth of what I say, on the honor and integrity of this man, Raymond Evans of Earth." He turned to Raymond, holding out a hand. Raymond grasped it firmly, feeling the weight of history in the simple gesture. "I am here as an emissary of my people," Raymond said, voice steady despite his hammering heart. "Here to listen, to learn, and to build bridges between our worlds. We have much to offer each other, but only if we have the courage to see past our differences and forge a new path together." The chamber erupted into chaos, elders shouting and gesticulating wildly. Some called for Raymond's immediate execution, others for Ceres to be stripped of rank and exiled. But through it all, Raymond and Ceres stood firm, hand in hand, a human and a Vorta united in purpose and conviction. They knew the road ahead would be long and perilous, that there would be many on both sides who would oppose their vision. But as they looked to each other, drawing strength from the bond they had forged through hardship and understanding, they knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them as one. For the sake of their peoples, and for the dream of a universe where humans and Vorta could stand together as friends. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.